Hello, this is Luke, and we're back with another episode of building an exercise tracking web app from scratch. Let's get started here. We will run the database, then run the client-side code bundler, and finally run the server. And we're ready to get started. Might be a bit of an unusual day today, partly because I'm going on a trip next week and I'm a bit distracted, but also partly because we're kind of nearing the end of our proverbial rope here in terms of working on this project. So let's talk about what's left. Actually, let's open the project first. Open up the app, sign in. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, one sec. I'm going to do this on my second monitor here. Okay, signing in. Gonna ask me for my MFA key. Let me put that in. Gotta whip up my phone. Okay, we're back. Don't save. Okay, so where were we? We've got our app here. And it mostly works. This is kind of the thing we did yesterday. You can sort of see some of the past exercises in this page here. Yeah, so let's look at our, what's this error here? This is kind of odd. Let's actually take a look at this real fast. So if we look at source controllers sets.ts here, basically what this is saying is at some point there was an error, probably, and we sent those error headers to the client, but then we didn't actually abort the controller, and so we ended up sending some other stuff afterwards as well, which caused this other error. So this is line 71. What's going on there? Line 71. Rendering the today page. Maybe this is part of the problem. First of all, that should be a return. That might have been what it was. Let's see. If I go here now and then go back. Yeah, there's no error. Okay, cool. Let's just commit this, fix or return when redirecting. And I could double check. Let's see if we're doing that everywhere else. If we do res.redirect. So like this one's at the bottom of a function, there's no need to return that. It's only if it's like in an if conditional that we really need to explicitly return. Looks like we're good to go. Okay. Anyway, back to our actually scheduled programming here. So what do I need to do to ship? There's kind of two things here. Customize theme, add transitions. These are both purely visual, which doesn't mean they're not important, but it does mean that I kind of don't want to do them because the app technically works without them, right? But there's that. So there's these two things under what do I need to ship. If we look under next actions, we also have some stuff here to do, maybe. Both of these things I'm not super concerned about though, so we might just skip them. If we look down here at ideas, there's a bunch of stuff. These are sort of more like future features we could add. But, you know, I don't want to do many of these. Like a lot of these are not actually going to be done by the time the app is finished. Partly because I want to finish it up so I can start working on something else on stream. Got some other ideas. Anyway, so let's think about what we actually want to do today. We could customize the theme, maybe. Let's take a look at that, first of all. Just see if that's even feasible. So what I mean by customizing the theme, if we look at our app again, it's got like these colors, and, you know, I can switch this to dark mode. And kind of the colors and how everything looks basically is determined by the Bulma CSS framework theme. So if I wanted to, you know, say change this primary color from this sort of turquoise or whatever it is, teal, to blue, I can't really do that very easily because those colors are coming from Bulma and there's a bunch of like derived values associated with those. But maybe what I can do is create a custom version of Bulma with different theme. But I don't really know how that works. Let's see what Bulma has to say for itself. Gonna have to read the docs a bit here. So these are like different types, different subsets. That's not really what we want. We could do, like we've got our CSS file here. I wonder what that, so we also have this option. Install the NPM package. So kind of what I'm thinking, even if we did install the NPM package, can we override values? So, I mean, it's talking a lot about using CSS variables, which is fine. But I don't know if that's going to work for like the most basic level stuff like the root colors and things like that. It's really these initial variables that we would probably want to be changing. And then the derived variables would automatically update, maybe. Or, I mean, let's see something here. So what if I were to just copy these. We're kind of going to be doing this here, overwriting them by setting a new value at the same scope. So this is the root scope. In our main.css, if we add a root scope, and then we can define these variables. Now this shouldn't change anything, right? But if I actually change one of these, I guess we'll probably need these in there as well. I feel like I want to put those at the top. I don't know if that actually matters, but whatever. So, and like, I don't know what these So there's a hue, saturation, and lightness, right? So if I change the hue, that should change the color. Let's just see what this does first. It shouldn't change anything at all. And then if I change this to 100 degrees, just some random value, refresh. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So it did actually change everything using the primary and primary derived colors. Obviously, we don't want to go with this sort of uranium green here, but I'm just kind of seeing like how well it actually works. And it seems like it's not bad. And really the main thing that I want to change is that primary color. Although I got to admit, the turquoise green was actually growing on me a little bit. But so the question is, what color do we change it to, right? Anybody can just pick a random color. Personally, I kind of like more of like a cool color, like a blue. So that's probably what I'll be going for. I feel like it doesn't really matter all that much. And, you know, to actually pick that color, I'm just going to grab a tailwind swash here. One of these. Let's see, where's the... yeah. Yeah, we can just pick one of these. So kind of what I'm thinking is, does this have much to say about stuff? Not really. Also, what happens if I change this to light mode? Okay. So it's kind of cool how this works. Like you can see, so this is probably the color for light mode. When I switch it to dark mode, because it's using HSL, hue, saturation, luminosity, right? It can just reduce the luminosity. It's probably what's going on here. It doesn't actually change the hue. It just reduces the luminosity. Maybe. That's my guess as to how that works. But it's kind of cool. Okay, so let's pick something here. You know, we want it to be a bright blue. I sort of like this type of color here. This one. Can I copy that somehow? Yeah, it did copy it. But now, what does that even mean? OKLCH. That's a shift click to copy the nearest hex value. What if I want it in HSL value? What is this again? O something? OKLCH. OKLCH to HSL. Okay, that doesn't really say. I guess we'll just pick one of these. So if we put in this thing here, I want to see the HSL, which I guess is this. Hue is this. Deg. Saturation. I don't know what these are. I guess that's chroma. Is that right? Or yeah, I guess that makes sense because it's a... Well, I don't really know. Let's just see what we get with this degree. Very purple. I don't really know what I'm doing. See, that didn't, actually that looks kind of cool, but that didn't really help either. Yeah, I find that tool a little confusing, I guess. I just wanted to convert it. So like if I copy this, indigo, or no, like this blue here, pop it in there. Did that do it? I don't know how this works either. How do I put in my value? So I put in that value, that was fine. If I copy this value, it doesn't like it. Yeah, that's weird. Didn't really anticipate it being this hard to... Oh my god. Whoops. Sorry, I broke your thing. Maybe, I wonder if I can do it in the browser. Like if I inspect this, computed, I mean, obviously here's the color. That's so weird. Okay, let's try this now. There must be a tool for doing this conversion, right? So I want the target color space here to be HSL. Output format HSL. So that's like this, right? So then if I do this, 221 degrees, 97.1% of this, and 53.5% of this. Okay, what's this looking like now? So now it's probably, yeah, that's about right. Okay, so we actually have a tool that can convert the colors. This one's a bit too blue, though. A bit too blue. A bit too bold, you could say. I wonder, what if I were to just get a slightly lighter color here? So 217, 59.6. It's kind of interesting to see the kind of comparisons in these values here. Okay, that's not bad. Does look a little weird in the dark mode. And if I log out, see, this isn't bad. Okay, so seems not bad. Let's try a couple other colors. I sort of like to try a few usually here. What if we go for more of a sky? So this is actually getting us closer towards that teal color that Bulma is actually using, but not really the same at all. We copy this, pop this in here. Now we've got 197, 43.8. And this is 43.8. Okay, that's not bad. And if we look in light mode, it's like that. I mean, it's a little bit dark, in light mode. That was this one, right? What about this one? $195, 47.4. See what that looks like. Pretty similar, hard to tell the difference, but let's sign in. And, you know, it's not looking bad, actually. I sort of like this sky blue, at least in light mode. I feel like this is looking pretty good. That's a bit odd, I just noticed. I don't know. I mean, obviously that's nothing to do with the colors, right? If I refresh this here, yeah, so the create button just doesn't have, I sort of wish that had a more, you know, a border basically, something like that. So that would be views, exercises, create new exercise, this one here, right? So this would almost be like, what if we did is outline? Didn't really seem to change it. Button. I guess outline isn't one of them. I don't really want to do is light or is dark though, so fine. Let's just leave it, I guess. It could be like is text, maybe. Is text. It gives it the underline. No, it's better the other way. Okay, let's just leave it like this. Kind of blends in a little bit, but that's all right. Okay, so let's look at this in dark mode. Let's switch our colors back. And I might add a note that this is coming from 74.6. So that was this one, right? No, this one. No, this one. Oh, it's sky, right? Okay, so is it this one? Yeah. So this is sky 400. I'm just going to add a quick note here. From Tailwind, sky 400. Okay. Anyway, let's refresh this again. So now we've got, you know, this stuff's kind of looking like this. It's looking fine. If we switch to dark mode, you know, I kind of like it in dark mode too. Okay, let's just do it. Let's do it and see how we feel about it. Can always change the color later. Okay, that's not right though. But that, again, that's probably not a color issue. If I comment this stuff out, again, refresh. Yeah, so this is something I didn't fix yesterday. So it looks good in light mode, but it does not look good in dark mode, I guess. Let's put our colors back in. I'm just going to commit this for now. I'll say like try out different primary color. Okay, and then we're going to fix this. So the problem here is probably that we need to dynamically change the class based on the, whether it's dark mode or not. This is something we've had to do in a couple other places. Let's see here. So this is the, what page is this? Historical, right? Or no, history. This is the history page. So for each of these things, like here is the this link here with this button and stuff is the thing. So, and it's got this is primary on here. So like if we look at this right now, it should be a button with just button and is primary on it. Yeah. So, you know, if we change this to is dark, so it has both, now it'll look fine in dark mode, right? But if we switch now to light mode, it's going to look weird in light mode. If we change it to is light, it should look good in light mode. Actually, in light mode, we kind of don't even want is light. We just want it like that. Sort of. Maybe that should be more of a border situation. What if I made this like is outline? Oh, I keep forgetting that's not a thing with Bulma, is it? Let's see. Yeah. There's no is outline. It's just, oh yeah, there is. Is outlined with a D. Okay. Let's see what that looks like when it's outlined. So, oh, okay. So that actually should be in here. Is primary is outlined like that. Get rid of the dot. Okay. Okay. So that one, I kind of like that because it's like, I don't like how it moves when you hover over it. I don't really like that at all, but it doesn't matter too much. What other? So there's is outlined. We saw. What if we did is light again? So kind of the point here is that we're trying to just highlight this this particular thing, right? Like this is the one that we went to here, this list from, it's today, right? And so we kind of want to highlight it so it stands out from the others so we know where we came from. The problem is there's not like a really good way to do that here. But I'm just going to stick with what we had before, which is this is primary. And then we're also going to need to add another binding here on dark mode, kind of similar to what we have here. So in order to do that, we'll probably want to switch this to object mode binding. So it would be like is primary is set when date equals from. And is dark is set when theme equals dark. Oh, and we need the close bracket. So now it should be like this when it's normal, and if we switch it to dark mode, it switches. Yeah. Looks pretty good in dark mode, really. Maybe better than in light mode. Okay. Yeah, and if I just kind of want to click around the UI here a little bit, see if there's anything else that we might need to fix up here. Like that looks fine. That's like the is light variant looks fine. If we switch to dark mode, that also looks fine. Manage exercises looks fine. See, that create button actually looks better in dark mode than light mode. I wonder if I added an is dark class to that, if that would look better. So in the exercises page, if I called this is dark, See, now it's kind of like that. And if you switch to dark mode, it's kind of like that. Actually kind of like that better. The other thing is we could try the is outlined here. That's what we were going to do originally. And that, I mean, it's not right? The outline doesn't line up. I don't really want to have to deal with that. Let's just have it be dark. Okay. Seems fine. If we go edit on one of these, we can click a couple of these, light mode, dark mode. So these are actually using the success color. I should probably change those to use the primary color too. Settings, exercise, yes. So these, like this is success. I'm going to change that to is primary. So now, we've got these like that. Seems fine. Okay. If we click delete, it should pop up a thing. Yeah, and this still looks fine. If we go back and then go to the history of an exercise, dumbbell curl. Uh-oh. Is it going to do that for everything? Looks like it. Oh no, that one worked. Okay, that's something we'll need to figure out. It seems like there's some kind of error when there's no data in here. So these colors now, this actually lines up really closely, but I don't think that color is passed into the chart at all. It'd be kind of nice if it was. Okay, well, that's something to think about. It does look, matches up better now than it did before, just because we're now using blue as well, so. But it still could be improved. Anyway, let's fix that other issue though. So before we forget, so if we look at dumbbell curl history, cannot convert undefined to pound. So this is here. No, it's here. Yeah, so, okay, let's take a look at this. So historical.pug. So, I mean, what I could do is like, really, we don't, So I guess, so kind of what I'm thinking is there's a question of what do we do if the exercise doesn't have any data? Like if I were to just comment this part out and the header too, that section just kind of goes away. And this sort of tells us, but that's interesting because there is some data. Let's actually log what we've got going on here. So what is console.log v. What is this v? So average man. v.average, v.min, v.max, v.total change. What is it trying to convert? I don't understand. Okay, let's see. Shared.ts line 44. Cannot convert from to to. So from and to are undefined in this case. Because this doesn't have units. No, we've got the to unit, which is pound. Let me see here. Display string for table. What if I do this? Console.log. Display. Display. Value param. Okay, so display value 0, unit undefined. And then there's an error. So display value. So it's weird that there's a unit undefined here for one thing. So there shouldn't be, like if we look at the value here, this display, it shouldn't be returning a unit at all, right? What is this doing here? So we've got reps. And is that it? What's the other thing that we have for this exercise type? This was dumbbell curl. Yeah. Got reps and weight. If I uncheck weight and go back, now it works. So it's something about the weight. If I go to dumbbell curl, if I check off weight and uncheck reps, go back, history, yeah. So something about the weight, that much is clear. So it's doing this convert unit. And then this, I almost kind of need to do like the problem is that, what is the problem? Let's see here. Let's quit that, start it again so we get some fresh logs. Okay, now we just got our standard error. Bit of a different error this time. Is it trying to do the console.log and that's causing the error, or is it something else? Yeah, so it's doing the weight, and then it tries to log this, and that doesn't seem to log anything. What? Weight, value. Yeah, so, and if I get rid of this, see, this is when it would be useful to have a debugger. Not that I'm going to take the time to figure that out. Okay, so we've got our weight, and it's an object with value 25, so it's missing a unit, which is the problem here. Why is that missing a unit? Where is this coming from? Let's actually look at our database. Maybe we have some bad data in there. think that's this one. So if we look at sets, we're talking do we know the set ID? I don't know. Let's just see if there's any weights without a unit on them. Oh, no, not like that. I want to... Oh, whatever. Let's just look. Okay, so there isn't any sets here that don't have weight. This particular one, weight value 25, I guess that would be this up here. Exercise ID 35. Dumbbell curl, yeah. Okay, so the data's fine in the database. So what is going on here? Let's do we need to add units here, maybe? Okay, so this is kind of interesting, actually. So let's look at the historical page controller as well. I think that's over here. Yeah. So kind of the thing here is this analysis is returning this array of things, and let's log that too. Yep. And let's try again here. So see, the analysis is returning this thing. You know, it's got these weights, or the weight parameter only, which is interesting. Why doesn't it have the reps one? Did I uncheck that over? Maybe I unchecked that in the UI, actually. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we've got the weight one here. Average, min, max, total change. So one of the things, I don't know if this analyze historical sets data is actually unit aware. I guess it is because it's doing this get raw value thing, which is unit aware, right? Yeah, distance and weight units are converted. So really what I need is this to almost be put in here. Like min maybe I'll do something like this. I'll add like a unit, which will be set to this. And this will be like the unit that the analysis is in. Unit, string. I think we have a better type for units though, right? Let's look at this. Like if we look at, well, I just am using strings. Whatever, we'll just use a string for now. Okay, so our unit, we know what this is because it's the same thing that get raw value was doing here. So the default unit is going to be the unit. Get rid of that exclamation point. And this could be string or null. Okay. Maybe I'll even get rid of that. Yeah. Well, no. Okay, so now we need to use that unit in our historical page. So this would be like value and then unit v.unit. We're telling it when it's displaying the unit, like what its actual, or when it's displaying the string, like what the actual unit is. Oh, that should be max. I see. Okay, so that should fix it, right? Yeah. And now we can actually see those units there. Everything seems fine. If I go back to the dumbbell curl, re-enable the reps, history, still working fine. Okay, cool. Okay, let's commit that. So actually first let's figure out what we actually want to commit here. This is just like a color update. This is also a color update. This console.log we can get rid of. Got the unit. This console.log we can get rid of as well. Okay. Shared, another one we can get rid of. And some more we can get rid of. Okay. So there wasn't even a change in that file at all. So we're going to commit these first. This is going to be like adjust colors of some UI elements. I think they're all buttons, but we're just going to not be that specific and just say some UI elements. And then here we're going to fix analysis table rendering of fields with units. Yeah, kind of just got to tell it what the unit is so it can render it. Okay. Okay, cool. I mean, we've got the stuff. So what else do we want to do today? Let's see. Let's look at our to-do list. One thing we can always do is update the screenshot for the homepage because now it's got the wrong colors. Like if I look at this, it doesn't look right anymore. But of course, as soon as we make another change, we would need to update that again and so on. So, I'm not going to do that until we're pretty confident we're not going to be changing more stuff. Let's just check this off for now. We can always change the core color later if we want to, but it was actually really easy to adjust that. I was impressed. I thought I was going to have to install a whole nother SAS tool chain, but this works great. This primary RGB, I guess that's not right anymore. Is it? I should probably update that. I don't know what that's used for. 195, 147.4, 195, 147.4. If I switch that to RGB, it would be this, I guess. So that would be what I would put down here, I guess. Except I don't really want it in percentage mode. RGB number. Yeah, this one. Okay. It didn't really seem to do anything, but it just should be aligned, I think. Yeah, it doesn't really seem to have done anything. Anyway, okay. Fix Bulma primary RGB. Or RGB. Yeah. And these other values are like based on the HSL, so that should be fine, but it's this one that's not. Okay. Okay, so then we can update this screenshot dark and screenshot light at some point again. I don't really want to do transitions. I have this card to add transitions, but I don't want to do that. I'm just going to take that out. Don't really care that much about transitions. They do look nice, but I'm not going to spend the time to figure that out. Okay, so let's think about if there's anything else that we might want to do down here as well. We've got some of these like switching things. I'm not really going to do those. Let's actually make another thing here where it's like will not be done for now. And all of these are going to go in there. I don't really want to mess around too much with switching my tooling at this point. I have started a new project where I'm using a lot of these bun built-in things, and it actually works pretty well, but I'm not going to do that here. Okay, what else? Custom parameters. And again, that would be nice. I'm not going to do it for now, though. GitHub export, same thing. Fly GH integration. I don't really care about that. That's just an easier way to do the deployments maybe, but we already have a CI/CD pipeline in GitHub. That should be fine. Add dark mode to user level settings. It's easy enough to do. We might do that. Help text. Again, that would be a nice thing to do. I'm actually, well, yeah, we'll just leave it here for now. I'll put it at the top. Routines. I'm not going to do that. That's sort of like a whole nother layer of functionality for the app that I'm not going to worry about. Customizable exercise icons and colors. Again, cool, but probably not in the core scope. And kind of why I'm thinking about this core scope stuff right now is because, so I've got this stream, right? And then I don't know for sure if I'm going to be streaming next Saturday because I've got a trip next week and I'll be coming back late Friday. I might not be feeling up for it, you know, to do stuff on Saturday. We'll see, but might be streaming, might not. Either way, I feel like that stream could be the last stream for this project before I start working on something new. So we're kind of nearing the end here. Shareable links. I do like the idea of shareable links. In-app spreadsheet, again, that won't be done. It would be nice, but I'm not going to do that. People can export their data and import it into their own thing if they want to do that. Standard format exports. I'm not aware of any of these. And by standard format, I'm thinking of like a standard format for representing exercises and sets where you could then like import your data into another app and analyze it or whatever. Obviously, we have JSON export. That's standard, right? But it doesn't dictate what fields are needed. It doesn't have a schema. Anyway, but I don't even know of a schema for exercise data. I'm sure there's something out there, but I'm not going to really look that up either. I think the use case of exporting data from your app and then importing it into another app is kind of, I've never heard of anybody doing that with exercise data. So yeah. Okay, so, you know, will not be done. We cut that stuff out. Let's also cut out these two things. I'm not going to do these either. But that does leave us with a few things that we could still do here. So shareable links is an interesting one. Kind of my idea with that is somebody could, like, say I did some exercises on this day and I wanted to share that with somebody else. There could be a button where I could be like, share link or whatever, and it would generate a link to a page that anybody could access without authentication, and it would have your exercise stuff there for the person to see. I don't really know what the point of that would be exactly, but it seems like kind of a cool feature to have, right? case you happen to have some friends and they care about your exercise data, but it's like you lie about it. And so you're like, I need to prove it. But of course, just putting in the app doesn't prove it at all either. Anyway, help text. I do like help text. I don't know exactly where to put the help text though. Like these, there's a logical thing to have like a question mark there for help text. Or like here, we have this manual. Doesn't really have a ton of content in there because it's a fairly simple app, right? It's like, how much help do you really need? But let's just see, like if I wanted to add some help text, what is involved with that? So that would probably be just a icon type of thing. Let's see if there happens to be like a more high level component specifically for help text or not. Yeah, not really seeing. So we would kind of need to do one ourselves here. What is message? See, I mean, so this could maybe be something we could, well, don't know if that makes sense. Doesn't really matter. Let's give it a shot here. So let's try adding some help text to the settings page first of all. And I'm thinking we'll probably want to make it into a mix-in, but we can deal with that in a minute. So weight unit, horizontal field, weight unit. We've got our field. See this? So what if I were to add, this is some help text. There. And then horizontal field here, there would be like help text. And we could have something here where it's like inside your label. It could be like label, and then it could be like if help text. Then here we would have an icon, which I could maybe do plus icon help. Let's just see what that looks like first. Okay, so we've got our help. We probably want like a space there, like that. Yeah. And this is then going to need to be interactive. So I might even make that a button, actually. Button dot is small. What about that? Okay, so that's kind of a thing. There's like a specific one for icons in a button, right? Yeah, so you've got your span class icon underneath the button. Span.icon and is small on the icon class. So now that's like that. We need that to be text or something like that, like is text. Let's see what that looks like. is text. So now we've got our, our question there. Obviously there's an alignment issue. There's also an underscore issue, and there's also the issue that the whole button, I don't know, I feel like I no longer want it to be a button. I kind of just want it to be a span. What if I do it like that? Okay, so see now, that's fine. I need something else in here now, like a help text anchor. Okay. So if I create a class for that, I would do like cursor pointer. I wonder if there's like an interactive class in Bulma that I should be using instead, though. It's always hard to remember like all these different classes. Yeah, is clickable. I guess I could use that. So like that is clickable. And I mean, I wonder if I could do a button, like a rounded button. I wonder if that would look good. Like if I did dot, what if I did dot is button here, or dot button dot is rounded. Okay, it doesn't look good. I want a circle. I want it to be rounded all the way into a circle. Okay, maybe that has to be above it, like up here. Div. Or yeah. Button dot. It's just too big. If I do is small. That's one thing. Is there like an extra small? Button is small, icon is small. Is there an extra small? No, just small. Yeah, I just don't like the way the button looks. I like it better without it. Okay. In any case, we've got our clickable anchor thing here. This is not going to be the most accessible solution. I should call that out as well, but whatever. We're just going to use Alpine.js to kind of add some interactivity here. So if there's help text, we display this thing, and then we add a, let's like up here, we could do like X data is help show help. Let's call it that. False to start with. And so then when you actually click on this span here, it's going to toggle that value. So it'd be X bind click equals show help. True. Or not show help, let's say. And so now we would also have something where it is only shown when we actually have the help. So if we did like a div X show equals show help text. Let's just see what this looks like. see how well it works before we actually... Okay, so it's not actually hiding that. Is it not called xshow? Let's see. Docs. Xshow. I mean... it seems like it shouldn't be showing to start with, right? What am I missing here? Do I need to... Maybe, let's just do it this way. What if I do a template xif show help, and then inside that I would do the div with the help text. Okay, it's still showing. Why is it showing? What if I did show help? X text, show help. True? Why is that true? It's set to false. It's not because of this, right? That wouldn't make sense. Oh, whoops. That should be X on click. Okay. Whoopsies. So now it should, yeah, show and hide. And then I can change this back to, you know, div help text. So kind of the idea here is it's like you could show help text. Now, obviously this isn't what we want the help text to look like. For starters, I'm actually going to put this all here as a sibling to the label so that it doesn't have the styling of the label. And then we're going to need to you know, basically make this into like a little popover. So this would be like help text. Fine. So help text. And I guess we don't even really need that because we have our interactive thing in a class. So like if we did display absolute, just as a simple thing to start with here, that should take it out of the flow of the page. Right? Am I misremembering how that works? Is it position absolute? Yeah, so now kind of it's taken out of the flow of the page, which is what we want. We also need a border and a background and all that stuff. So we could do like background color is going to be, I kind of want to do whatever this one is here. What is this? Notification. I mean, I could, what if I were to add that as a class? Where am I? I'm horizontal field. Yeah. So if I did dot notification, just out of curiosity here. Yeah. So now we've got that kind of notification popping up. We could do message as well. That kind of seems like a suitable thing here. So then there would be like div or like dot message body. And then we would have like dot message header, except that's supposed to be down here. And this could be, help. Just to see what that looks like. Click. We need a Z index. Let's get rid of this. So this would be like Z index, whatever, big number. Yeah. Okay. So now we've got the help text. It looks kind of weird with the header. Probably don't really need that. We also need a border to it. Yeah, message body only, sizes. I mean, so we could do border like that. Again, trying to think about how we could reuse the Bulma stuff as much as possible. If I were to add like a dot box here, click. So, I mean, that box really helps, but it does look weird with the other things inside it. There's also block. I don't think that's really what we want. We probably want box. Okay, so let's say we do want box. What if we did it like that? Okay, now that's downright weird. Oh, the help text thing has to be up here too. Okay, it's the same. So let's actually just use dot box. We don't really need anything else. And then we could also add dot content, I think is what it's called, where we're basically saying that there's going to be plain old HTML in here. Yeah. And then don't really need those other fields. Let's try this. So now, like if I click that, it's like, hey, some help text. Oh, but I also need the help text. Click. This is some help text. Cool. And I mean, yeah, ideally I would like it to kind of pop off to the right instead of off to the left. Let's take a look at this. Why is it where it is exactly? Why is that red? Oh, it's not associated with the form field. Okay. So you can kind of see it's the absolute thing here is basically starting where the top left of the absolute box is at the bottom left of the weight, like the box that it's in. If I were to set this to left, %, what's it going to do? Okay, so it's 100%, but it's not in the right. If I did like dot help text container, and this would be display or position relative. Is that it? Mixins. So this would be in the help text. The help text container would be this field label. Yeah, okay, so now it's kind of popping up over there, which is what you'd like to see. I don't really know where the width is coming from. I'm going to add something in there explicit about that though. So we could say like width, max width, 10 rem. What does that look like? Okay, it still doesn't really like that. What if I do width? Also, why is this? Yeah, I guess it's left aligned because of the thing that it's still in here. Really, I should be using a, well, I was going to say a portal type of thing for this, but I don't know if that's actually a good idea. The problem with a portal is I don't know if it's going to work with this absolute stuff. I think it won't. So that's not really going to help. But what we can just do is override those styles ourselves. So in here we could say like help text, text align left. Just put the stuff to the left, please. Cool. Okay. And, maybe I'll add a little X in there too. So like if we were to say help text in here, there would be like help text. Then we could also have like a div dot icon dot is small dot is clickable X on click show help equals false. And inside there, we would have plus icon close or X. Is X an icon? Yeah, it is. So if I click that, it goes away. So then I can take this thing here and I'm just going to float this to the right, which is, I think there was a utility for that, right? Is pulled right. Presumably that's using float. Yep, okay. Then I click it, it goes away. Yeah. Okay, yeah, whatever. Maybe not the best. Part of one of the problems here is like if I have multiple help text open, like they'll all be open at once. There's no global state to be like, well, close the other help texts before you open the new one. No big deal though. The nice thing about this is it's built right into this horizontal field mixin, so we can reuse it easily. I'm actually going to make another mixin for it as well though. Mixin help text. Help text. And so that's going to be like this here. It's kind of hard to split it out. We can take this mixin, right? So this would be like help text box. And then that could be this whole thing plus help text box, help text. And I'm going to take the template out of there. So it's just like presentational help text box. And then I might do this as well as a help text anchor. Mixin help text anchor. It's like this. And signal name. So this would be like signal name, let's put in parentheses here, signal name plus equals not plus signal name. To kind of get it to reset that signal each time. I'll probably do the signal here as well, actually, and include the template after all. So this would be signal name, help text, xif signal name. On click, signal name plus equals false. So what we're doing here is kind of trying to make this help text be more of a reusable component so we can easily add help text in various parts of our app. Right, like that. Yeah, so then down here, this if help text box. And I guess I'll leave that space there. Oh, I got to do the plus help text anchor. Show help. And then this would be show help text, and get rid of the template. Okay. And unindent it. Okay, fairly simple, hopefully. So now, like if I click that, this is some help text. Sweet. And click X, goes away. And I can easily add that to these other settings page things as well, or whatever we want to do here. So we could say like, determines the unit pounds versus kilograms used for weight related parameter values. Or I could say used for weight related measurements. Something the user might understand a little more. Then parameter values is kind of a technical term. Determine the units, miles versus kilometers, used for distance related measurements. Previous exercises using other measurements, units will automatically be converted. Okay. And like, here's another example. I could be like, export my data. It could be like, download your exercises, sets, and related data as a JSON object. Let's just see what this is like now. So now we've got, click. So let's adjust the width on these a little more. What if I did fit content? And then I click that. I can never remember if it's like max content. Yeah, max content. And then you could also do max width, 20 rem. Yeah, okay, I like that. So width, max content. And kind of what this is telling it is to, by default, the width should be the maximum that the content inside the box can take up. So with CSS, there's like this thing where you have kind of two big different ways of deciding how to size a box, right? One is based on the size of the boxes inside it, and the other one is based on the sizes of the box that the box is inside. I forget, there's like specific words for those. I don't remember what exactly they are, but it's like there's like an implicit box sizing based on the boxes inside it, or you can like explicitly size it based on where it's fitting in. Anyway, so I feel like this was like being sized based on the parent box, but because it's position absolute and moved off to the side, that doesn't really make sense. So we're explicitly saying, by default, have the width be the maximum width that the content could fit up to a maximum of whatever, the max width, which is here going to be 20 rem. So that way, you know, it works like this, but also if I just had one word and I click that, see, it doesn't expand to fit the full 20 rem. It just shrinks to fit the content. So it matches the content up to 20 rem. Anyway, I think there's other ways you could do that with like a calc or a min-max, minimax function actually in the width instead of having a separate max width, but this works fine, right? Okay, can click export my data. I'll put a help text on delete my account too. So this could be permanently and irreversibly, well, that's redundant, permanently deletes your user account, exercises, and all associated data. Okie doke. Kind of weird. I mean, you can like that. So that's another example where it's like, ideally, if we were using a portal to render these, you wouldn't need to do this, but I'm going to explicitly just reset the color. So like color would be var Bulma text or something, right? Do I have that up here somewhere? Bulma text string, text strong, but it's not strong. It's just Bulma text, right? Let's see if that works. And then background, well, whatever. Didn't really fix that. Let's see here. Why is that? Okay. I mean, like if I did dot help text star, does that do it for you? No. I don't like that it's like inheriting this stuff in the notification and then it's like kind of hard to fix it. Okay, what's up with that now? So it's got the color. Where did I even put that? This is dot help text. That's here. Oh, it's not even showing up. Oh, because it would be the sub. Okay, let's put that up here. Okay. Okay, yeah, fine. Yep, okay. So where else do we want to put some help text is the next question. We did the settings page basically. One thing, see, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if we want to put them at the user, like at the actual page level here too. I feel like that is maybe redundant. Okay, so if we go to manage exercises, edit, I'll put some in here as well in the edit page. So if we go to exercise, like in this exercise name, we could say like human human readable. Name for the exercise, e.g. dumbbell squat. Okay. So now, we've got that. Parameters. This would be like choose which parameters or choose which types of measurements are appropriate for this exercise. These will be used when logging exercise sets. Okay. So now, we have an explanation here. Danger zone, I'll have one here, might as well. Permanently deletes the exercise, this exercise, and all associated sets. Let's just say all associated data and all historical data. Okay. Cool. Got some explanations there. If we go back to manage exercises history, this is the same. Wait, I thought we fixed this one. Cannot convert undefined to pound. I mean, we fixed it for dumbbell curl, right? Is that broken now? No. Okay, it's not broken. But then this one is. So what is the problem there? I don't know. Let's actually commit this stuff first. Okay, so don't need that. We also don't need this. Like we're only using help text container and help text, so I don't actually need the help text anchor class. Okay, so we could say like add some help text to your forms and stuff. Okie doke. Now let's go back to fixing this thing again. I don't really know what's up with that. Console.log v. Okay, what are you logging for me? Empty object. Okay. So, I mean, the problem here is that v.average and v.unit are both undefined. Now, if we were to always set the v.unit, whether or not the other stuff was present, what would that do? So probably kind of what I'm thinking is like if we go over here, it's hitting this case here where it's like there are no values. If we were to return this here, does that work? So it works, but it's producing bad results, which is kind of what we would expect, I think. because we're not really like intelligently handling that case. Really what we want to do is if there isn't any historical data, it should just be like a dash, like we have down here, a dash. So how does that work? Well, first let's get rid of that. And actually, let's get rid of that altogether. Or no, let's leave that. Yeah. Okay, so now we're kind of back to the default case here. So we sort of have a choice. What we could do is we could say something in here where it's like v I mean, the thing is it's going to be an empty object. So like a simple example, we could do like v.average. If there is an average, then display it. Otherwise, display an empty string, right? And if we did the same thing for all of these other ones, like this, and you know, obviously this would be like v.min, this would be v.max, this would be v.total change, right? If we do it like that, that works fine. Kind of the problem is that I'd like to have this conditional logic incorporated into display string for table. So if we look at display string for table here, display string for table, so it gets the display string, and then it runs it through this raw value for table function. And what are we getting in here? Just an empty object. Interesting. The display string function is just returning an empty object. Because it's probably hitting this case, right? What if I do value param user? Value is undefined. So it's hitting this case. This is returning that. I mean, I could, so what I maybe should do is value dash unit. Well, let's just do that. Let's see what that's like. If we just do value dash, see, I don't think this is quite going to work unless we actually put a unit in there too. But let's just give it a shot. Where did we do that other change? Yeah. So let's get rid of what we did here, because we want that to be in this function instead of replicated in the view a bunch of times. Get rid of that. Yeah. Okay, so now we get the error again. So if we were to do this, unit like that, that should work, right? No. Apparently not. What doesn't work here? So now we've got what going on? So we've got our display string for table. And I mean, this really needs to be in a like that for one thing, just for readability. Okay. I mean, I thought that would kind of fix it. Right? So what's going on now? The error is actually happening even sooner because we're not getting to this. So this default unit is complaining. So we might do it like this. So let's say like for distance, we would say like value, or let's do something like this, like case distance if this return value dash unit default unit. So like if we did that for each of these things, it's a little bit awkward. But I think that's going to give us a more consistent kind of basis for what we're trying to do here. And like weight has the unit, duration just has the value like that. Intensity, you know, we don't need the zero check for that. And that would just be like that. And then number would be like, I don't know if we really need this, but we'll just include it. Okay. What is this like now? What do we got going on now? Error at convert unit. At display string for table. So it's trying to display the string. Value param user. What's going on here? So display string for table, value undefined, unit undefined. What? That's a weird one. Okay, so, and in this case, we're talking about assisted, which is data type weight. So it should be going in here. Okay. So why are we getting these value undefined, unit undefined? It's like value v.average. I guess it makes sense because v is that empty object. And then it's calling display string for table on that empty object, which calls display string on that empty object. And then that should go down here and be like, oh, it's weight. And then what's the problem here? Oh, it can't convert undefined. What? Let's see. If I do this, value default unit, okay, so it does get pound in there. and then it's trying to convert or no, it should be returning, right? Console.log returning, because value is falsy, so it should just be returning this. Huh. Display string value default unit. Oh, so value is not falsy here because it's an object. This needs to be updated. Okay. Parameter value. What if I did this? So if value, just kind of put that logic back up there where it was. And then instead of not value, it would have to be like not value dot value. Or and value dot value is not equal to 0. Something like that. So then it's actually going to properly match a conditional. Seems like that got kind of bugged out. Here, so this is interesting, it's actually including the dash as well as the unit. Which we don't really need. So, you know, that would be like if we commented out that, still works okay. So I think we'll probably not return that here. Or no, it would be up here. Let's comment out that. Still works okay. Okay. Let's get rid of all these because I think that the kind of issue here was to do with the this value check at the top being wrong. So if we just do it like this, refresh, fine. If we go to everything, history, seems fine. Let's just do a quick recording of something. Well, let's hold off on that actually. So for everything here, I don't really like these units still being present in the table view though. So if we look at the display string for table again, I guess. Display string for table. So here, you know, if the string so like if we do display raw value for table, it could be like if raw value or value equals dash return value. Just kind of short circuit that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then let's add an exercise for everything here. Add new set, everything. 12 minutes and low intensity. And then manage exercises, everything, history. Cool, it's looking good. Yeah, looking good. Okay. Let's commit this as well. Just call it like fix or get rid of the console log first. In fact, get rid of all the console logs in here as well. Get rid of the unit there. Doesn't really mean anything in that context. Okay. So the only real change here is actually in these functions. So we fixed this logic here where instead of checking value, it's actually checking value dot value, which is what it was supposed to be doing. It's also not returning an empty object. It's actually returning this. Now, I guess one thing, having fixed that, I wonder if we can remove that piece of code and replace this with just returning an empty object. And does that still work? Still works fine, right? And if I go to one of the ones that wasn't working, like ASDF, works fine. About curl, fine. Yeah, okay. So I think this is actually better. So instead of display string returning the empty string, it's just going to return like an undefined thing. And this thing, wherever that other piece of logic here, doesn't need to exist anymore then. So that makes it even simpler. Basically, we're just fixing that check here. Yes. Okay. Fix empty object check in display string. Empty value check. Okay. That probably got a bit out of sync when we refactored our parameter value format a little while ago. Okay, so we've got our, we've got that bug fixed anyway. I think we've got the main stuff done there, like help text. So let's see, is there anywhere else that we might want to put help text? I got distracted by that bug. But I could see putting it like here, maybe. Or just in this whole page somewhere, but I don't know. I don't want to like spam help text everywhere. I kind of want to be, a little bit circumspect with that to avoid just having too much. I think for like a traditional form layout, like the settings page, it fits in really nicely. For this kind of weird dynamic grid of inputs, I don't think it's going to work well to have help text. But like for this, I might put some help text to explain what that even is, because it's not obvious. So like in the today page here, if I were to do a thing, that would be like here. So say I were to do something else here where it's like plus help text trigger. Is that what I called it? Anchor, trigger. Let's look at the mixins here. Help text anchor. Show help. So, I could have something on here where it's like div x data show help false. Okay, so we've got our help text anchor, and then we would also have a help text something or other, help text box, which I will just put right here as well. Help text box, show help, and this is some help. Okay, so now, we've got the question mark there. It's not, so that's going way over there. That's obviously not right. But it makes sense because that's probably, like if I look at this paragraph, it's probably taking up the full width of the page. Yep. And really, like if I were to make this, it should probably be underneath that all. So let's do this. Let's do span, another span, and just put all that in there. See what that looks like. Now if I click it, it's still over there. The width of the span is just that. So if I did span, again, we're just kind of messing with it here, style, this, or position, relative. Okay, yeah, so now that kind of is popping up in a decent place. And I might put it to the left of the if, or the right of the if, I mean, or the A, yeah. Yeah. And this probably should be, let's make that just strong. Does that work with Bulma? Yeah. And I might actually even add some text where it's like strong exercises from, and then we would have a div here, a span, and a space. So now if I click on that, it's like exercises from blah, blah, blah. And there's a see all button. And then there's a question mark. Maybe I will actually put it before the A. Yeah, and then we can put a space after that, like this, or before it, I mean. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's fine. It's maybe not the most obvious help text because it's kind of overshadowed by this see all button, but it's just meant to be there for, I don't know, just because, I guess. And then I kind of want to actually put these things all, or take that thing out of the span. Shouldn't change where it is. But now if I click this, it pops up there, yeah. So, yeah. And that needs to be like that. Yeah. Okay. Let us go ahead and stage that, and then we can actually write the help text here. So, shows the most recently recorded measurements for this exercise, excluding today. Okay, and then you can do see all to kind of get the list of all of them. Great. Okay. So this would be add help text to historical quick view in today page. Yep. Sounds good to me. What else do we want to do? If we look at our notes page here, help text, we added that. I guess dark mode, you know, that's something that's not too hard to add, right? We could do that. So it's actually been a while since we've done a database schema update as well, especially on the user. So we've got our preferred units here. Let's add another one where it's like preferred theme. Preferred theme. And this would be dark or light, dark or light, or yeah, but it's not really a record either. So let's actually make a type for this. Like export type theme, color scheme. For some reason, I mean, there's a bit of a difference, I guess, between a theme and a scheme, apparently. And I think this is more of a scheme. Okay, so preferred theme. This would just be text, preferred theme dot type is color scheme. Cool. And then let's add a setting for that, I guess. So could do another little form here. And I'm actually going to put it at the top. Or no, we can put it down here. That's fine. Maybe we'll put it in another box, actually, even like dot box or dot. What is it called when it's like a block? Dot block. I just want to give it a little bit of spacing from the other parts of the form here. And I guess if it's in that dot block, it would need to be like, what if I do it like that? Let's just try it like that. What? Oh, okay. I got to run my migration. Right. Let's do that. So if we do run migration generate, it'll add that new column. So, we could take a look at that. Should just be alter table user, add column preferred theme. Simple enough. Let's commit these, or get them ready to commit, stage them. And then we can do run to actually run that migration. And then we can actually do our dev command again. Okay. Refresh. Yeah, settings page. Yeah, so now we've got, this thing down here. And yeah, okay, so let's fix that up now. So this would be color or default color scheme. Specifies whether the app should use dark mode or light mode. Note that this can be overridden in specific browsers by clicking the theme buttons, the color scheme switcher in the footer. Okay, I think that's true, and we'll test that out once it's actually implemented. So here, we've got, this is going to be just preferred theme. Preferred theme. This would be, instead of distance units, it would be color schemes, which of course we'll have to pass into the theme. So let's do that. So let's say in the router here, or like in shared even, let's do like export function, all color schemes, return light, dark. Okay, so then in the router, we would have like color schemes, all color schemes. And then here, that can be actually used here, preferred theme, color schemes. Yes. And I mean, you'll notice, so there's this X data here. We can probably put that something similar, but not exactly the same down here. And this would actually have preferred theme, which would be set to user.preferred theme. Or, well, fine, just do that, yeah. Okay, and these need to return the actual object form, I guess. So similar to the intensities and stuff, we actually want to return an array of objects where it's like ID dark, name dark. Same thing with light. Let's put light first. Light mode, dark mode. Okay. So in theory, if I switch that to dark, it's going to do a thing. We did get an error. I do feel like I actually kind of want this to be all in the same thing here. And then this would just be like a div. And then in here we would have a dot block for these two things. And then the next block would be indented as well. This would go away. And let's just do the simple thing and pass them both in all the places. So all these routes are basically calling, or all these, controls are using the same set of routes. It's kind of interesting. What happened there? Why is that? What if I made that another block? Blocks and blocks and blocks. That's fine. Okay. Okay. I don't know why these are inside a form for each one. I feel like that doesn't need to be a thing anymore. That was probably a holdover from something. Or maybe I just forgot. I don't know. Let's see. So if I switch this to kilograms, nothing happens. Maybe that's why it needs to be in a form. No. Or does it? I don't know. Let's see. Kilograms. Yeah, it's like not working. Preferred theme is not defined. Oh, okay. So it's not, that's why it's not working. Preferred theme is not defined. But it should be defined. Oh, it shouldn't be, yeah. So I had it in the preferred units. It should actually be like this. And we gotta try and format this a little better so it's actually not so cursed. Like that, I guess. Is that gonna work? Like that? Yeah, I guess so. Okay. So now if I switch this to kilograms, it should do the thing. Did the thing. Kilometers. Yep. And default color scheme, if I set that to dark, yep. Okay, seems all right. And if I get rid of these forms again now that we've addressed or identified what the problem was there. So now if I switch this to pounds, doing the same thing, sending it to pounds. Miles, dark, fine, right? Pounds, miles, light, pounds, miles, dark. Oh, okay. So that's not actually set on the back end yet, of course. Okay, so now if we actually look at the settings controller, this is going to have a preferred theme, z.enum, all color schemes dot map s.id as string. Or no, not an enum. This would be a oh yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah. As string dot string. Right? Is that not right? Argument of type. Oh. Like that? Yeah. Okay. Just got to do some weird weird types here. Basically, we're saying this is an array of strings, and not just an array of strings, but an array of strings with at least one string in it is the significance of this particular type. Okay, cool. So now, we can also just set that here. Preferred theme, just do like that. And this can be preferred theme. And yeah, fine. What's this? So string not assigned to, what's the problem here? Preferred theme as color scheme. Right? That's the problem here. Yeah. And that would be like as color scheme or null, I guess. Okay. Cool. So the other thing is, like, for these preferred units, I guess like this needs to be in here. Preferred theme, user dot preferred theme. So let's look for where else preferred units is used here. There's a bunch of snapshots, don't care about those. So default unit, I might make a function that's like a default color scheme. Well, let's hold off on that. Let's see what we, yeah, because I think that, yeah, anyway. Let's hold off on that. So yeah, these are just some of the usual stuff. Preferred units in the settings controller, in the user controller for export, in the schema, settings.pug. Okay, so we don't have anything else specifically here, which is fine. And so then in this shared, I am going to define like export function colors, get color scheme, user, or like get color scheme for user. Well, I don't know. Let's actually look at the settings page for a moment again. So over here, like this needs a default value, basically. We could do like or default color scheme. And the other thing we're going to need to use this for is actually in the layout itself. Right? Where do we handle the color scheme stuff? There's this theme variable. That's pulled from this function. It's kind of a bit complicated here. Because, so let's think about this. So in our shared here, I'll just define a function here, export function color scheme. User. So here we would say like, and I'll make that optional. So we kind of have a chain of things here. Like if the user has a preferred theme, we would return that. If user.preferred theme, return user.preferred theme. If they don't have a preferred theme, we're going to return the default, which is light. Just going to return one of the default color schemes. But there's also potentially a setting in the browser, right? So that's where if we look up in the main thing, we've got this stuff. So let's actually copy this and put it into our shared here. And I'm going to rename this to browser scheme. Browser color scheme. Okay. And really that would be this, I guess. And I should put this in like that. Window.matchMedia and window.matchMedia matches. And really I can get rid of that then. Right. So basically, if this matches, then it's dark. Otherwise, it just defaults to light. And that would be the default here. And then theme. So this here is the kind of the number one thing. So it would be like const local storage theme. Is that stored scheme, sure, whatever. And I mean, it's called theme, whatever. So it would be like if stored scheme return stored scheme as color scheme. Okay, so that's kind of doing this function's logic, but with the addition of this other stuff. And I'll just, for now, I'm just going to call that theme No, let's call it color scheme. Yeah. And we'll get rid of this and we can call this save color scheme. New scheme. It's like if new scheme equals browser color scheme, then do the thing, otherwise set it. And new scheme here is going to be a color scheme. Okay, so let's move these just up here so they're not in the middle of all the unit stuff. So now if we go to our router, that's fine, I guess. If we go to the layout, oh yeah, okay. So this would be set.theme, save theme. So, you know, let's just do it like this, I guess. So if I have this theme, I could just do like return, what is it called again? Color scheme. Return color scheme user. And maybe I will not do that. Let's do it like this. So down here, we're going to have like color scheme as an export. And we need to import this from shared up here. And then also from shared, we're going to import save color scheme. And we will send both of those out here. Yes, color scheme, save color scheme. Cool. So then in our layout, this will be save color scheme. This will be color scheme. I'm not going to rename this theme variable at the moment because that's kind of a bit of a thing, but we do sort of have a mixture between scheme and theme right now, which isn't great. But okay. Okay, so now we've got our thing. If I switch it to dark mode and refresh the page, it should stick on dark mode. Switch to light mode, refresh the page, it should stick on light mode. If I click around, it should stick on the mode. If I go settings, like if I switch this to light, I mean, it already is light. Let's get rid of that. Reload. So I guess the browser's default is dark mode right now. So if I set it to dark and look at the application storage, there's no keys, yeah. Whereas if I set this to light, there's a key. So set it to dark, now it's doing the browser's default. And then if I switch this to light, preferred theme is light. Okay, so if I refresh the page now, it's still dark. Oh, because we're not passing in the user is probably part of it. So this color scheme has to get the user passed in. Okay, but now it's all messed up. What? Now it's like neither. It's like a weird combination, right? Dark. What is it doing? What do we got going on here? Theme is not defined. Let's refresh Scratcher. User is not defined. So theme is not defined. What is... Oh, okay. So the problem is we don't have the user bound in here. So really we would need something where it's kind of like user is that, and then theme is that. So user would be like JSON.stringify user, right? User is not defined. Okay, we probably need to split these out. So let's do that then. Unfortunately, because this is right on the top HTML, we can't like really move the user up. So let's say we're going to set the user there. Let's copy all this and put it like we don't need the theme in any of the header stuff. So technically we could put that on the body, right? If I do that and get rid of this on the HTML and just do that, that should work, right? Looks fine. Okay, it doesn't really work. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll have to do it differently then. Let's do it like this. So we'll say X effect. Theme equals user dot preferred theme It's kind of hard. Okay, let's just see. So that's a little bit weird, of course. But, and then this user part goes away. That just gets like that. I guess this would be like this. Window.setColorScheme user. Hopefully we don't get into a weird infinite loop or something here. Oh, and then I have to add the user in here. User, quote, plus, quote, comma, JSON.stringify user. Okay, so now I've got the user on the client. We're in light mode. We can switch to dark mode. The user's preferred color scheme, I'm going to set to light. If I refresh the page, we're put in light, even though, okay, so that's set to light, which is fine. So then if I switch this to dark, though, and then click on another page, see it switches it to light. It's like, it's not quite right in the way that the logic works here. Because we want to prefer the stored scheme. So like this is light right now. If I go settings and I switch it to dark, it should stick on light for any page, right? But then if I delete this and refresh, it should switch to dark. Which is fine. And if I switch this to light, refresh, that's fine. If I, so now it's light. If I click this, dark, refresh, light. It's kind of okay. It's a little confusing though, because it's like, so say I switch this to dark. the reason that it's not switching it to dark is because we don't actually have the key here, because that's sort of defaulting to the browser setting. So I might actually just change this. Okay. So now, we're on dark. We can switch it to light. If I switch this to dark, then it's going to stay on light even when I refresh the page, because this is going to be preferred. But if I switch it to dark, the same kind of thing should happen. If I switch this to light, it's going to be fine. If I delete this and refresh, we'll be on light mode. Right? We should be on light mode, right? Dark, light. So why is it doing dark mode now? Oh, right, because there's a stored scheme, which is always preferred. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. It's a little confusing. The one thing that I think would make this a little simpler then too is if we had a third option, which would be like match browser schema. But I'm not going to worry about that for now. So kind of the idea is like you can pick your color scheme. Like let's delete this here, which you get from editing these things. The thing is, I think that even gets set, like if I just go to a page, it's setting that. So we don't need that to be set automatically at the beginning. It only needs to be set if the thing's actually changed, which is this. So this Windows set save color scheme theme. So it's almost like there's two themes here. There's the theme that we show, and then there's the theme that we save, and they're not necessarily the same always. But, I mean, I think this actually isn't too bad. Kind of the main idea is like I want the user to be able to switch to dark mode here and then open their thing in a new browser. And, assuming they don't have any of those keys set, it's going to actually use the proper default color scheme. The concern is like if I, as a user, am looking at this in dark mode with no thing, and then I switch it to light, and then I reload, it's still on dark. Why is it still on dark? It's because it's saving it before it can set it or something. Do I need to do something like that? Refresh. Application delete dark. Refresh. Yeah, okay. So now it's actually doing it right. So it's light, because that's what the user asked for, even though the browser is defaulting to dark. If I switch this, it's not switching. It's not switching because it's executing both of these. Theme is Windows set color scheme user, and that gets saved. So when I switch this, that sets theme to dark. And then it goes up here and it's like, okay, rerun this X effect. I almost wonder, should I put that X effect more down here? I just want to do a bit of a separate effect. Maybe that'll help. So now if I switch this, yeah. So because the effects aren't coupled together anymore. And if I switch this to dark, refresh, it's not dark because I did this, right? If I delete this now and have it on dark and refresh, works. Switch to light, delete this, refresh, works. Another case to test, if I delete the property from my user here, this preferred theme, null. Let's see, I think there's a thing here like null, yeah. And then commit that. So now, what does it do? Refresh. It should default to, well, it's, okay, delete that. It should default to dark. Yes. And this default color scheme, then I can pick one. The problem is here, I can't like pick light because that's already like, I feel like I need a empty unit, an empty thing there. Like, color schemes. So it would be kind of like concat color schemes. And this would be like ID, empty string, label, empty string. Yeah, so now it's like that because I don't have it set. If I do set it to light and refresh and delete this and refresh again, okay, it's light. And that should have set it in the database too, right? Yeah. And if I were to delete this again and refresh the page again, it's defaulting to empty. Okay, that's fine. There's something here, like a lot of times people will have like three choices. It's like light, dark, or prefer browser settings. Maybe that would make this easier to kind of understand, but I'm not gonna do that big of a change right now. Okay, so let's do this. This is all like color scheme related stuff, I think. I should delete, I don't know if I did already or not, but I should delete the code that we're no longer using here. These don't need, right? Like if I search for browser theme, yeah, it's like we don't need that. If I search for theme with the parentheses after it, yep, don't need that. If I search for save theme, it's like, yep, don't need that. Okay. And then down here, we can get rid of those three things too. Okay. Cleaning some stuff up. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, one other thing I just remembered. So there's kind of a thing here where like if I set this, so like say I delete that and then set this to dark, it's like it should switch the theme to dark. We kind of have two ways we could do that. One is the obvious way of having something in here where it's like, theme equals preferred theme. Right? Is that all there is to it? So if I switch this to light, boing, delete that, refresh, sweet. So now that's on light, delete that, switches to dark, sets it, refresh, delete it, refresh. Okay, yeah, something like that. So what are we doing here? This is, I don't think I added any console.logs in this mess, right? Not there, not there, not there, not there, not there. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is going to be add preferred theme or add user level color scheme controls. Sure. User level color scheme controls. Okay. That probably about time for me to wrap up here. Gonna push my changes. Oops. Sweet. And I guess I should check that off as well. Dark mode, user level settings. X. Cool. Well, thanks, y'all. I think that's going to be about it for today, and I will see you again next week, probably. I think I mentioned already, I might be taking next week off. Not totally sure. I'll update my schedule on Twitch if I am, but we'll see. Thanks. See ya.